Hey guys, Brad Danger here, and there are bad cars, and there are disappointing cars, and then there are cars so deeply spiritually bad that every time I see one in traffic, I feel like my soul gets hit with a low battery warning. And that is what we are talking about today. Not the objectively worst cars ever made, not the least reliable, not the slowest, not even the ugliest, because ugly can become charming. Ugly can have personality. Ugly can be weird enough to become cool. Now, today we are talking about my least favorite cars, the machines that make me squint, sigh, and immediately assume somebody in a boardroom said, yeah, ship it, who cares? Because some cars are bad in an honest way. They're cheap, they're weird, they're compromised, and they know it. I can respect that, but the cars I really cannot stand are the ones that act like they are revolutionary or premium or rugged or sporty or cool while being none of those things. They are the fraud, the posers, the guys at the gym curling in front of the mirror with 5-pound dumbbells and somehow still grunting. And right at the top of this list, the king of the fake future nonsense, the stainless steel doorstop that somehow escaped a video game loading screen and got registered for road use, is the Cybertruck. But trust me, this is just the beginning. So buckle up, because today I am ranting through cars that I cannot stand, the trends I wish would die, and the machines that make me wonder if humanity was a mistake. And if you like car content with opinions, chaos, and a healthy amount of slander, well, hit the subscribe and join on our way to 2 million subs. All right, let's begin with an electric elephant in the room, or a dumpster, the Cybertruck. Man, what were they even thinking? I know there are people out there who want to defend it, and I get it. It is quick. It is different. It is attention grabbing. It looks like what a 10-year-old would draw if you asked him to sketch the truck from the future after 3 Mountain Dews and an entire weekend of playing low polygon racing games. But I do not care. It looks ridiculous, not in a lovable way, not in a weird and wonderful way. It looks like someone tried to build a concept car out of old refrigerator doors and pure ego. And somehow it is even worse in person, because when you see one in real life, all the fantasy falls apart. The proportions are weird, the surfaces are wonky, the details are awkward. It looks less like a finished product and more like something that should still have a prototype do not touch sign hanging off the mirror. And the craziest part is that it does not even have the decency to be beautifully engineered enough to shut people up. If it looked weird but felt like a flawless piece of alien tech, maybe I would get it. But no, it is weird and messy, weird and compromised, weird and somehow also kind of fragile for a giant, supposedly indestructible steel wedge. It is the kind of vehicle that makes people say, yeah, but it does 0 to 60 in supercar time. Like, that is the answer to every question. Brother, I do not care if it launches like a fighter jet. If it looks like an HVAC unit and has the vibes of a failed moon colony appliance, I am not getting excited. And that brings me to one of my least favorite categories in all of car culture, the flashy, sporty SUV. I hate these things, not all SUVs. Let me be clear, a useful SUV, fine, haul the family, bring the dog, go to Costco, live your life. But the fake, sporty, super aggressive coupe roofline, giant wheel, no actual purpose SUV, those things are the automotive version of wearing football pads to dinner. The Lamborghini Urus is the poster child for this nonsense. Look, it is fast. Of course it is fast. Everything is fast now. Your dentist has a 3-row crossover that runs 11-second quarter miles in ventilated seats. Fast is not enough anymore. If your argument for a 2.5-ton ultra-luxury SUV is, but it is quick, congratulations. So is getting hit by a train. That does not make it a good idea. The Urus feels like the moment a legendary sports car brand looked at the world and said, you know what? Enough heritage. Let us make a giant flex machine for people who want to post steering wheel shots. It is loud, expensive, dramatic, and somehow still kind of empty. All presence, all image, all theater. It is the kind of car that screams for attention so loudly it circles back around to insecurity. And it is not alone. BMW X6M, Mercedes GLE Coupe, all of these bloated SUV coupe things. They are too tall to be sports cars, too compromised to be practical SUVs, and too expensive to be forgiven for being stupid. They exist because the market rewards bad behavior. That is it. There is no purity here, no logic, no vision, just vibes and lease deals. Speaking of vehicles that exist because the market lost its mind, let us talk about trucks. Not work trucks. Real work trucks are cool. I love a truck with scratches in the bed and a hitch that has actually seen war. I'm talking about bro-dozers, Lifted pavement princesses, squatted nonsense machines, trucks with wheels the size of carnival rides and tires thinner than my patience, trucks so tall the driver needs a Sherpa to check the blind spot, trucks that never tow, never haul, never get dirty, and somehow still manage to be the most aggressive thing in the Whole Foods parking lot. I cannot stand them. They are dangerous. They are obnoxious. They take up too much space. They ruin visibility for everyone around them. And the whole attitude around them is somehow worse than the trucks themselves. It is always the same energy. Maximum confidence, minimum purpose. It is cosplay for guys who want to feel like ranchers while living in a subdivision with an HOA. And while we are in truckland, I have to say this. The Toyota Tacoma is good. It is also massively over-romanticized. People talk about Tacomas like they are forged by mountain gods and powered by pure reliability. Like you can drive one into the ocean, wait 6 years, drag it back out with a horse, and it will start right up and ask if you want Bluetooth audio. Calm down. They are good trucks, but the used prices are absurd. The mythology has become detached from reality. People will pay insane money for a Tacoma with 200,000 miles because they have been told it is bulletproof. Buddy, everything wears out. Everything needs maintenance. Physics still exists, rubber still ages, metal still breaks. A cult following does not count as a service history. Yo guys, quick pause because this is super important. The giveaway is live right now and we're giving away this fully built, dripping in carbon Supra. 4 months in the making. And guys, it is the Tuner Hero spec, plus a Shelby GT350 with an exhaust that sounds absolutely ridiculous. So, if you want to win, you've got a decision to make. Do you get the JDM Legend, or do you get the American Icon? And guys, for a limited time, every purchase that you make on the site, which is pinned in the first comment down below, you get 2,000 bonus entries to win one of these cars, plus bonus cash, hat, shirt, entry pack, it don't matter. That's 2,000 extra chances on top. And Rocky from New York grabbed a quick entry pack last time and walked away with the GTR plus bonus cash. So yeah, it definitely happens. And we're running it back with 2 cars. So which one you picking? Let me know in the comments down below and go get entered as well. And good skill. Now let us slide from overrated ruggedness to one of my favorite categories of terrible. Weird, ugly little cars that make you physically react. The Nissan Juke, I know. Some people love the Juke because it is quirky, because it is different, because it has personality. I hear you, I reject you. This thing looks like somebody designed it by throwing a bunch of car parts into the air and just welding them wherever they landed. The headlights are in the wrong zip code. The proportions are confused. The whole thing looks like a frog that got stung by bees. And yet, I will admit, there is something almost admirable about how committed it is to being weird. It is not bland, it is not anonymous, it is aggressively itself, which is more than I can say for about 90% of modern crossovers. That is why the cars I often dislike even more are the total nothing burgers. The Dodge Journey, the Chevy Equinox, the random anonymous blob crossovers of the last 15 years. These are the cars that do not inspire passion, joy, curiosity, speed, style, or confidence. They are not so bad they become interesting. They are just there, existing, beige in spirit even when painted red. They are the waiting room magazines of the automotive world, and there is something almost more offensive about that. At least the Juke swings, at least the Aztec took a shot, at least the Cube looked like a refrigerator with self-esteem. The Journey, the Equinox, these things feel like they were designed by a committee trying not to upset anyone and accidentally creating vehicles for people who think wallpaper is a personality trait. Then there are the cars that disappoint because the name deserved better. The Chevy Blazer. That one hurts. Because Blazer should mean something, it should have attitude, it should have character, it should feel at least a little bit rebellious, but instead it came back as another crossover with a cool old badge slapped on it like a tribute band using the original drummer's name. And that happens way too much now. Automakers keep resurrecting great names to sell things that would have been laughed out of the room 20 years ago. It is like if someone brought back the Countach name for a dishwasher. You cannot just take a legendary badge and glue it onto whatever product finance says will sell. And then, of course, there are the cars that are less about the machine and more about the people driving them. You know exactly what I mean. The Nissan Altima. It is not even really about the car anymore. The Altima has become a warning sign. You see one in your mirror with a bumper hanging off, one headlight out, temporary tag flapping in the wind like a surrender flag, and your body immediately goes into fight or flight. You create distance, you clear lanes, you start praying to whatever mechanical deity you believe in. Same thing with certain lifted diesels, same thing with duck-covered Jeeps. And can we please talk about the Jeep duck thing for a second? What happened there? When did Wranglers become rolling bath toy museums? Why is the dashboard now an active crime scene of little rubber birds? It started as a cute, harmless thing and somehow evolved into a full-blown identity package. And once it spread to non-Wrangler Jeeps, it was over. That was the moment the bit died. That was the moment the joke stopped being funny and started needing to be put down humanely. And while I am offending entire communities, let me say this. I do not hate the Miata, I hate Miata discourse. Because the car is good, it is light, it is fun, it is honest. But online, the Miata gets treated like it is the answer to literally every car question ever asked. Need a commuter? Miata. Need a track car? Miata. Need to move furniture? Miata. Need emotional support after a breakup? Miata. No, sometimes the answer is not Miata. Sometimes people are tall. Sometimes people need cargo room. Sometimes it rains. Sometimes you do not want to fold yourself into a cheerful little tin can just to feel superior at an autocross. The car is great. The worship is exhausting. Same goes for the MK4 Supra. Yes, I said it. Legendary car. Fantastic engine. Massive tuning potential. Deserves respect. Also, it has been inflated into a mythological object by nostalgia and movie magic to the point where people talk about it like it was handcrafted by the gods and delivered to Earth on a beam of nitrous. It is a great car. It is not the answer to every question. And the weirdest part is how often it gets used as a weapon against modern cars, especially the MK5 Supra, which is hilarious because most of the loudest critics of the new one have never actually driven either. That is one of my biggest pet peeves in all of this. People who judge cars as symbols instead of experiences. That is how we ended up with stuff like the Porsche GT3 RS getting treated like the ultimate dream car for everyone. Amazing machine, incredible engineering, peak lunatic track toy, but for the average person, that thing is overkill on wheels. Most owners will never get close to its limits. It is like buying a fighter jet to commute to Trader Joe's. Cool? Sure. Necessary? Absolutely not. And yet online it becomes this universal object of desire because internet car culture loves absolutes. Best, worst, GOAT, trash, future classic, immediate buy, never buy. We flatten everything into a take because nuance does not get clicks. But real car enthusiasm should have more texture than that. That's why some of my least favorite cars are not even necessarily the most broken or the ugliest or the slowest. They are the ones that represent what I dislike most about where the industry has gone. Screens everywhere, no buttons, fake luxury, fake ruggedness, fake sportiness, cars designed for attention first and experience last. That is why I cannot stand the fake coupe SUVs, the giant influencer trucks, the identity appliances, the badge engineered crossovers, the rolling gimmicks, the cars that are engineered backwards from a marketing campaign instead of forward from a driving experience. And honestly, that is why something like the Honda Fit, the old Element, or even the weird Cube earns more respect from me than half the so-called premium stuff on the road today. At least those cars knew what they were. At least they had a point. And at least they were trying to solve a problem instead of create a lifestyle. So, what is my least favorite car of all? I mean, if you had to put a gun to my head and made me choose, I think I'd still have to say the Cybertruck, because it's not just ugly, it's not just weird, and it's not just overhyped. It is a perfect monument for the part of modern car culture that drives me insane. The obsession with spectacle over substance, the belief that being different automatically means good. The idea that if something goes viral enough, it deserves respect by default. Nah, it doesn't. A car should be interesting because it's good or useful or clever or charming or fun, not because it looks like a geometry error. And maybe that is the real point here. The cars that I hate most are the ones that feel dishonest, the ones pretending to be more than they are, the ones built to trigger attention instead of affection, the ones that made the road uglier, dumber, and more annoying for everyone else. Give me a flawed, honest car over a fake, perfect one every single time. I mean, give me the weird with soul over polished emptiness. Give me something that makes me feel something real. And keep the stainless steel dumpster, the duck-covered mall crawler, the giant fake race SUV, and the anonymous crossover blob as far away from me as possible. All right, your turn. What is your least favorite car of all time? Not the one that is technically the worst, the one that you just cannot understand, the one that makes you feel irrationally angry at the stoplight. Let me know in the comments below. And remember to go to winthisidealcar.com to get entered to win your dream car. I have two of them that I'm giving away, Shelby GT350 or a Mark V Fast and Furious Supra. plus bonus cash. I pinned to that link in the first comment down below. Like, subscribe so we can hit 2 mil. Check out some of these ideal vids over here. I'm Brad Danger, and promise me one thing: keep living the ideal lifestyle.